AI films can now win Academy Awards. We have a secret for helping you reduce the price of Google VO2 by 80%, and there are a ton of brand new AI video generators. Welcome to your AI film news of the week. I want to kick things off by talking about a brand new announcement from Luma Ray 2. Essentially, the team at Luma came out with multiple new camera angles that you can use inside of their platform to get much more control out of the outputs that you get whenever you generate videos, whether it's text to video or image to video. To use this new feature, all you have to do is go over to the Luma homepage, and then from there, you just simply log in. Now we have the ability to either upload an image or type in a prompt. For our example, I'm going to upload this image here of this car. Basically, it's like a drone shot of this car driving on a road that I 100% would never want to actually be driving down. And if you go down to the bottom right, you can make sure that you're in Luma Ray 2. And let's go ahead and select that camera icon and go to angle. And from here, you can see there's multiple camera angles that you can select to basically choose the angle that you want your final generation to be. Now, of course, if you're using image to video, the image is actually going to dictate a lot of the angle that you get from the generation, but it is helpful just to reinforce that using this brand new tool. So let's go ahead and select aerial, and we'll say an aerial shot following a car driving down a road in the forest. And here's our final generation from Luma. Again, this is our very first generation here. And you can see that there is some distortion on the truck, but I'm really enjoying the parallaxing that's happening with the camera. So a pretty decent generation. Now, it wouldn't be the Curious Refuge channel if we didn't compare this to other AI video generators out there. So here's the generation from Kling. You can see the truck really warps a lot. There is a lot of movement, but the overall resolution and fidelity is just not super impressive from Kling. Here's the same generation from Runway Gen 4. Actually, I think Runway might have done the best job here. I can only imagine what happens if this clip continues because those wheels there at the end are definitely over the edge. Now, I wanted to do a text to video example utilizing this tool to really see how it does in directing itself towards an end result. So I said an animated rabbit talks to his friend. We'll go to camera, go to angle, and for this one, we'll say over the shoulder and go ahead and click generate. And after a couple minutes, it generated this clip here, and you can see it does have the qualities of an over-the-shoulder shot. We never defined who the friend was, so it decided it should be a squirrel, and also the rabbit is wearing a jacket for some reason, but technically speaking, that is an over-the-shoulder shot, and it generated it just from text alone. So we wanted to test out some of the other camera controls here. So we have an eye-level shot of this kid making a sandcastle, and parts of it are good, and some of the continuity with his hands, it gets a little like jello-y with his hands there. So an okay result, not the best one. We also wanted to generate a low angle shot, and we got this shot here of this guy skateboarding. And yeah, it's low angle. I will say that as soon as that video is done, that skateboard is definitely snapping in half because that's way too much pressure on the board to hit that corner there. We have a POV shot of a person riding a motorcycle, and this actually looks pretty good. There's even the reflections in the mirrors of the motorcycle. I do think that the image quality kind of broke down towards the end. It kind of turned a little cartoonish, but it is pretty cool to see the POV stay intact throughout the video. And then finally, somebody taking a selfie video, and yeah, I mean, the physics look pretty darn realistic. It seems like that person is legitimately walking in that environment. There is some softness with the details in the background, but all in all, a pretty decent video. I think having tools like this that can just help your generation become just a few percentage points more in line with what you're looking for are really helpful because it just allows you to get your idea from your head onto the screen. Staying in the world of AI video generators, there's a brand new update to Skyreels. Skyreels version 2 is here, and the cool thing about utilizing this tool is not only is there an online version that you can use, there's also an open source version that you can download to your computer. Now, the cool thing about using version 2 is not only the physics and the overall quality is improved, It also allows you to extend your videos to an infinite amount of time. Now, with that comes a huge caveat, and that is it's an infinite amount that your GPU can actually render. So you're probably still looking at clips that are about 30 seconds to 60 seconds long, but it is pretty cool to see that you do have the ability to extend video clips using open source tools. Now, to use Skyreels, of course, you can download it and run it on your local machine. It is easier to use the online website, and to do that, go to the Skyreels.ai website. You'll need to create an account and then find the Generate Video button on the left side of the frame. From here, I'm going to select our first frame, and we'll go ahead and click Upload from our device. And let's bring in this shot here. It seems like a lot of dynamic movement. You can see there's this car basically spinning around this dirt road in this mountainside. We'll go ahead and crop in here. And for our prompt, we'll say a car is racing through the countryside, dust scatters everywhere. And it generated this video clip here of the car basically kind of going in circles. So that's not exactly what I'm looking for. So let's go back to that edit button and let's change up our prompt here and say, and drives off into the distance, and go ahead and re-render. And now we have this video clip here, and you can see the car kind of drives off into the distance. And the cool thing is we do have the ability now to extend this video clip. So if you go to the extend section, you basically can say the car keeps racing up the mountain road, and go ahead and click create. And so this is the final result. Again, this is the original video, and at about this point, it switches over to the new one, and there's a new car that appears here. So obviously there is a continuity issue. This wouldn't really be usable if you were working on a professional project. It's really funny to watch this car. It just like disappears and just goes into nowhere. So a really interesting magic trick there. And technically speaking, you could extend that video to as long as you want, but in reality, it's probably going to get distorted. Now, outside of just the video being able to be extended, it also has improved physics. So I wanted to do a quick comparison with 3 different shots. So we have this first image here, and we wanted to animate it inside of Skyreels, and it gave us this video here. You can see it looks pretty good. I think when that woman blinks, her eye color changed for a second. So, you know, not a lot of continuity there, but the overall video does look pretty good. Here's the same generation from Kling. And yeah, looks pretty good. It also has kind of the smoke coming from her mouth because it's a cold day. So pretty decent generation there. And then we have this shot from Runway Gen 4. And yeah, looks pretty darn realistic. Next up, we have this shot of a haunted house. Here's the generation from Skyreels, and we prompted in for some bats flying, and it did an okay job. It seems like those bats, again, they kind of appear from nowhere. Here's the same generation from Kling. And again, the bats kind of appear from nowhere. I think if you cut it at a certain point, you could probably work around that limitation, but the overall resolution is just not quite as good as Skyreels or even Runway. And here's that shot from Runway. So we have the bats just kind of fly across the frame. And this one I think is actually the best one because it doesn't just have bats that randomly appear, they actually fly in front of the camera. And so it just comes across as much more realistic. There's also a really funny feature inside of Skyreels that allows you to create a film from a single prompt. It's kind of like LTX Studio with a twist. Let me show you how to use it. All you have to do is go to the Skyreels website and go ahead and select AI Drama. From here, you can type in a prompt for the type of film you want to see. You also have the ability to upload your own script or your own novel. It's entirely up to you. But for our example, we'll use their default story here. It's basically a Las Vegas story about a high stakes poker game, and go ahead and click on Generate Script. So from this tab, it will actually generate a script and multiple episodes of your story automatically using AI tools. Now, obviously, these stories are very rudimentary and not that interesting, but it is pretty interesting to see it slowly developing a story simply from a prompt alone. And once you have a story, you can go ahead and click on Generate Character. Now, generating characters does take a little bit of time, but it does intelligently understand who should be in this film and it generates the characters that you can go in and edit yourself. So it generated these 3 characters here. Obviously, they seem fairly generic, but they are dressed in what you would expect someone to be dressed in if they were working in a Las Vegas casino. So now comes the fun part. Let's go ahead and go to Generate Storyboard. Now this process does take some time. It took about 15 minutes to generate this video clip. Let's take a look.
You're busted. I know what you're up to.
Excuse me?
Listening to Brad's conversation? Plotting something shady?
Okay, so as you can see, that's one of the worst films I have ever seen. There's so many continuity issues and it doesn't really make any sense. But this really is laying the groundwork for what the future of a certain type of entertainment might be. Being able to type in a prompt and see entertainment in return is definitely already in the works in a lot of different ways, and this is only scratching the surface. We came across some interesting information from the team at LTX Studio this last week. So as you know, Google VO2 is one of our favorite AI video generators, but it's also one of the most expensive. Now, of course, up to this point, you've had to pay up to $2.50 per video that you generate with Google VO2, which is really unsustainable, especially because it takes like multiple generations to get the clip that you're looking for. Well, the team at LTX Studio actually came out this last week and said that it would only cost between 68 cents and 87 cents to generate Google VO2 clips on their platform. This actually makes LTX Studio the cheapest place that you can go to generate Google VO2 clips. So I highly recommend checking it out if you utilize Google VO inside of your workflow. And speaking of workflows, enrollment for the May session of our AI courses at Curious Refuge open up on April 30th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We are super excited for this session and actually just introduced our ultimate bundle pack that allows you to take all of the courses at Curious Refuge at a discounted price. This includes our brand new advanced AI filmmaking course that was created by Kavan Cardoza. And I have another really incredible example of his work later on in this video. I can't wait to show you. Be sure to check out the Curious Refuge site if you're interested in learning anything from AI filmmaking to animation to advertising. We have a ton of really incredible courses, and we'd love to have you in the program. We came across an interesting tool from the people at FreePik this last week. Now, obviously, you've been able to use images in most AI image generators out there that basically allow you to control the composition. However, there's a new tool inside of FreePik that allows you to really just create rough sketches, and it will generate images that are in the same compositional style. Let me show you how to use it. All you have to do is go to the FreePik website and go ahead and click on Generate Images and go to Composition. And from this menu, you can go ahead and select Sketch. And now let's go in and start drawing a character here. This really is a beautiful work of art here. So we have this person, and let's say we want them to walk a dog. So let's draw a little dog here. It's like a unicorn dog, I guess. And let's go ahead and click Use as Composition. And the funny thing is, it actually will look at your drawing, and as long as it's just moderately better than chicken scratch, it actually will type in a prompt as well that tries to guess what you are trying to create. And in our case, it guessed that we are in fact trying to create an image of a person with a dog. And just to double check, let's go to mode here and we will select Mystic and go ahead and click Generate. So let's take a look at our image here and you can see, yeah, there you go. There's a person on the right holding a dog in the bottom left. Not too bad. Now I do want to change the environment where this image happens. So let's go into the end of the prompt here and say they are standing in a sunny suburban park. And yeah, here's the generation. You can see we have a person holding a dog inside of a park. The team at Krea has come out with a brand new feature that I think lays the groundwork for what the future of AI assisted art direction will likely be. Obviously, up to this point, if you wanted to create a film using AI, you've had to type in a prompt, create images, and then animate those images. If you want to get advanced, you'll train custom models on the environments, the characters, the objects, things like that. What Krea is trying to do is actually allow you to type in a prompt and create a 3D world. And from that 3D world, you have much more control over the images, the characters, and the overall environment that you're working with. This new tool is called Krea Stage, and it's pretty awesome. To use the tool, all you have to do is go to the Krea website and click the Stage button in the top right. And for our prompt, we're going to type in a teen bedroom, grunge vibes, 1995, and go ahead and click Generate. And after a few minutes, it generated a 3D world here, and you can see it has all of the assets that you might expect to be inside of a teenager's bedroom in 1995. We have a bookshelf, we have the desk with the old computer sitting on it. We even have like a cardboard cutout of the band on the wall, which I think is awesome. And no teenage bedroom in the 90s would be complete without an electric guitar. And you can see, yeah, we have a 3D asset. Now, of course, this is in the early stages, but having the ability to have 3D objects that you can place and then run your renders from give you much more control over the storytelling process. Now, I wanted to try a much more advanced prompt, so let's go back over to Stage, and long story short, I have a really long prompt with a lot of information about the different types of assets that I want to generate, and let's go ahead and click the Generate button. Now, what's really funny is Krea actually refused to generate the 3D world because I guess it was simply too many assets. But what's pretty cool though is you can actually scrub through and see all of the assets that it did in fact generate for this world that we're trying to create. So all these are 3D models that did not exist until we typed in a prompt. So you see we have this desk with this old school computer. We have a shelf with some lava lamps. We have some band posters on the wall. We have some punk rock shoes. We have a backpack. And again, all of these things were generated from a single prompt. In other AI video generation news, the team at Domo came out with Domo AI Animate version 2.2 Advanced. It's a little long in the tooth. They're saying that this new model is really good for animation, so of course, let's put it to the test. To use it, all you have to do is go to the Domo website and go ahead and click on Start for Free. And from here, we'll select 16:9, and let's go ahead and bring in this image of this kid kind of splashing around in some puddles. And we'll say a child walks through rain puddles. We'll make it 5 seconds long and go ahead and click Generate. And after a few seconds, it generated this video clip here of this kid who does not blink at the same time with both eyes, which is very unnerving. We ran the same generation from Runway Gen 4 and it created this. A much better result, so I'd say Runway did a better job in this instance. We also have this image of this 3D animated princess character. We ran it through Domo, and you can see it kind of changed the lighting. I do think the animation looks pretty good, but the overall lighting from the actual video itself changed. So it's kind of a departure from what we prompted. Here's the same result from Runway Gen 4. I think there's a bit more realistic expression in her face. Obviously, we want to prompt in for a bit more movement, but again, Runway did a better job. And then finally, here's an anime shot, and let's say we want these characters to kiss. It's just the final romance shot of the film. That's the shot from Domo, which actually did a pretty decent job. And here's the same thing from Runway. And yeah, I think the result from Runway is just much better. So all things considered, I'd say Domo AI is a tool you should probably skip because other AI video generators are simply better at this point. There's also a brand new open source AI video generator out there called SandMagi1. Their website is just sand.ai, which I think is much easier to say. Long story short, it seems very promising and they have some pretty interesting examples over on their website. For example, we have this shot here of the old man in the sea, and you can see he's smoking, and then we rack focus off into the distance to reveal, is that a boat? And what is it connected to? Is that boat wakeboarding? I'm not entirely sure. Kind of a weird generation. I saw this shot here of this giant monster eye, and it actually looked pretty interesting. I think there's like a lot of dynamic movement in that eyeball. Not too bad. We have this shot here of an astronaut surfing on some clouds, and then he just decides to go off in the distance. See you, buddy. And this video clip here of this little girl, she looks down, then looks back at the camera, and that shot actually does look fairly realistic. Now, I took that same image example from a few segments ago and generated this video clip here of this woman And, she's just looking around. And honestly, it did a pretty good job. The fact that this is a brand new AI video generator and it created a clip that looks so realistic right off the bat tells me that there's a lot of promise in this video generator becoming a very interesting contender in the AI application marketplace. And again, this code is completely free and you can download and use it on your computer. You'll find the link below this video. In Hollywood news, there was a really big announcement from the Academy. Essentially, the Academy, which if you don't know, is the body that gives out the Oscars each year, has come out and said that the use of AI and other digital tools in the film production process will not disqualify you from receiving a nomination for a film. This is a huge step forward because obviously in the context of the strikes and the large change that AI is bringing to the Hollywood production process, you would imagine that there would be more pushback from the Academy. But the fact that they've come out and said that utilizing generative AI will not actually hurt your chances of winning an Academy Award is a huge step in the industry. And that really begs the question, who's going to create the first AI film that wins an Academy Award? There are quite a few AI film events and meetups happening around the world that I think you should know about. First off, on May 7th, we have a Curious Refuge meetup in Palm Beach and in Paris. So if you happen to be in either one of those cities, I highly recommend stopping by and saying hello. There's also the submissions for the Reply AI Film Festival due by June 1st. Again, this is the film festival that will actually fly you to the Venice International Film Festival with a shot at over 30,000 euros in prize pool money. So I definitely recommend checking out their website and submitting any films that you've worked on. You don't have to create something original just for this competition. So go through your hard drive, upload your films, and you never know what might place at the event. And the final event that I think you should know about is the Runway Gen 48. Basically, you team up with 1 to 3 people to create a film that's 1 to 4 minutes long, and you only have 48 hours to do it. It's super fun. I highly recommend taking part in this competition if you have the time. And again, it's completely remote, so it doesn't matter where you live, you can still compete in this competition. And that brings us to our AI films of the week. The films that we're going to be highlighting this week are some of the best I've ever seen up to this point. The first is called Kingdom by Outliers, and it's a bit more of a trailer, but it has one of the largest scale action scenes I've ever seen in an AI project. It really does feel like a large fantasy film with a big sweeping battle, and it really would only be possible with more of the more modern AI video generators, so I think they did an amazing job on this project. Now, the next project that I want to highlight was created by the instructor of our advanced AI filmmaking course, Kavan Cardoza. He goes by Kavan the Kid online. It's called Youngblood, and basically it's a sci-fi trailer that has incredible sound design. So you can really tell from this project that he not only focused on the sound design to make sure that it was really nice, but also on the visuals and making the overall film feel very cohesive. It truly is one of the best AI film trailers I've ever seen. I highly recommend checking it out. And our final project is a bit more of an art film. It's called Window Payn by Holden Boyles. It's a really breathtaking AI film that is artistic and reflecting on what it means to be human. There's some really nice editing techniques that go beyond just generative AI to help bring the entire thing together, and I think they did an amazing job on the project. If you want to get the latest AI film news sent directly to your inbox, be sure to subscribe over at Curious Refuge. We send weekly updates on all of the latest tools and news that you need to know as a storyteller, so I highly recommend subscribing over on our website. And of course, if you want to get the latest news and tutorials directly here on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this episode of AI Film News. We'll see you next time.